This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Newpel, and welcome to the Noop Sports Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Noop Sports Podcast. This is Ryan with my co-host, Rodney. Rodney, you with me?
Yeah, what's going on? Looking forward to some National Football League going on this weekend.
Yeah, not much. Doing well here as well. We want to thank all you listeners for tuning in to our, I think this is like our 10th episode of the podcast. So pretty excited. We made it to double digits on the podcast. If you didn't hear already, we published the college sports. Tom and Rodney published the college edition week 7 yesterday. That should be out on the website. And then we'll have this one that you're listening to here for a week. What are we in? Week 6 of the NFL. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking some football today, and we're going to go through game by game today, real short and sweet, and talk about each of the games. But thanks for listening, and we hope we can help you make some money this week on the NFL.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. And Tom and I have a good college football one out there. We spent some time talking about quite a few games, and we'll tell you about a few contests we got going on at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned to that.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in here. First game, Thursday night, we have Denver Broncos at San Diego Chargers. Two teams that are kind of heading in opposite directions here. Denver's 4-1, San Diego's 1-4. This game's in San Diego. Spread's, I think, kind of smaller than I thought it might be. Denver's a 3-point favorite on the road here. Any thoughts on this game?
I actually think San Diego wins this game. I don't think Denver's nearly as good with Paxton Lynch. He sounds like he has an opportunity that he's going to get a chance to play, and they weren't real good last week. And you got to keep in mind that San Diego actually should be 4-1 right now. They've lost 3 games by like last-second possessions. They've actually outscored their opponents by 10. I'm taking San Diego in this game. I think they win outright at home on Thursday night.
Yeah, they play pretty well at home. I have a hard time going against Denver. I don't know if they lose 2 in a row, but I think you may be right. They struggled with Paxton Lynch a little bit last week, and that could be a big difference for them. You know, really searching for that quarterback that can play well for them. So that may not be a bad bet, taking them points at home. I'll probably ride Denver in this one on Thursday night. I like their defense quite a bit still. Maybe to cause some havoc for Rivers, but I don't blame you if you want to take the points in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I just think San Diego's been competitive, and they'll continue to be competitive and win this primetime game.
Okay, so then we move into Sunday. What teams are on bye this week? Do you know which teams are on bye?
Yeah, just 2 teams actually. Tampa Bay will not play this week, and Minnesota will not play this week. So we will still have an undefeated team coming into next week because Minnesota is the only team that has not lost. So Minnesota, Tampa Bay do not play.
Okay, so we have several games, lots of noon games, and then your standard 3 or 4 late afternoon games, followed up with Sunday night and Monday night. So let's jump into some of these early games here. First game we'll talk about, we got a couple. We got San Francisco, who's 1-4 at Buffalo, 3-2. Buffalo's pretty big favorites. They're playing really good football right now. They're 7.5, 8-point favorites at some places. Buffalo, are they the real deal?
Buffalo's pretty good, and they've, like you said, they've played really well. But actually, Colin Kaepernick's going to get the start in this game. I think San Francisco covers the spread, especially if you can get it at a touchdown, over a touchdown. I think San Francisco can be competitive. Keep in mind, Buffalo doesn't score that many points, so I don't look for a huge shootout in this game. I like San Francisco to cover this. I think Buffalo wins.
Yeah, Buffalo shocked me every single week. I mean, week after week, they continue to shock me. And they're not only winning, they're winning pretty big. I mean, they beat Arizona 33-18, beat New England 16-0, and LA 30-19. A couple of those games on the road. I think they're the real deal. I think they must be way better than I think. I like Buffalo probably to wax these guys and maybe even shut out San Francisco. Kaepernick is maybe a small upgrade for San Francisco, but I'm still not buying in on him. I like Buffalo, but let's put a little asterisk by that because I think I've been wrong on Buffalo just about every week so far. So this could be the week they fold and not play well. But they're at home against the worst team in football, arguably. So I think I'm going to ride Buffalo here.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can't go too wrong there. I mean, but the thing about Buffalo is I just don't think they score enough. They're the worst passing team in all of the NFL, and I look for a really low scoring game. I think San Francisco will get on the board. I think it'll be something like 17-10 or something. I just think it's low scoring, and San Francisco keeps it close.
Okay, nothing wrong with that as well. We're 2 for 2, we're opposite here, so this should be a fun week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Okay, let's go to Jacksonville at Chicago. We got the Jaguars at the Bears. Bears are actually favored in this one. They're 2.5 3-point favorites at home in this game. Jaguars have been a little disappointing so far this year. They're 1-3. Bears are 1-4. So both teams really trying to find themselves. I don't know. I'm leaning towards taking Jacksonville in this one. Taking those points. I don't think the Bears are very good at all, and I know Jacksonville has a lot of weapons, and so if those weapons can get going, beat up on the Bears, who are really banged up right now, am I crazy?
No, I'll take the Jaguars. I think the Bears suck. I don't think I'll ever bet on the Bears. They're just not very good. Brian Hoyer is still going to be their starting quarterback. I do like Jordan Howard quite a bit at running back. I think he's a guy that can be a pretty good player, but their offensive line is not very good. Their defense isn't very good, and I don't think they defend Jacksonville very well. I look for Allen Robinson to have a pretty big game here. I like Jacksonville. Especially, if you could find this at +3 eventually, I think you're in real good shape. I'll take Jacksonville to win this outright. I like the Jaguars on the road.
Yeah, I like the money line as well in this one. Get a little underdog money line. Take the Jaguars to win. I agree. Okay, let's go. We got Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions. Detroit comes in as 3-point favorites in this one. Public likes Detroit. No love for the Rams. They're 2-3. Detroit's 2-3. Los Angeles 3-2. I'm gonna turn this one over to you. What do you think here in this one?
Yeah, I've been leaning towards the Lions, but one of the last trends that I've seen, Rams 7-0-1 against the spread in their last 8 games following a double-digit loss at home. Now they lost double digits last week to Buffalo. I think the Lions should win this game, but these are both teams that are, when they get any positive momentum heading their way, they completely fold the next week. So, that's a Detroit situation. They won last week. I will probably stay away from this game, but I think Detroit wins at home.
Yeah, I like getting the 3 points here. I can't really argue with you that Detroit probably wins. I think LA keeps this really close. They always seem to. They always seem to keep games close. Their defense, I like their defense. I know they've given up some points this year, maybe more than they should have on some occasions. But I think they'll rise to the challenge. I think they can really maybe make Stafford turn the ball over some. Detroit's running game really isn't there per se. So they're going to be forced to pass. If I can get it at +3, I kind of like taking the Rams +3. But yeah, it may be a good stay-away game as well.
Yeah, but one thing you certainly have to keep in mind before this game: Michael Brockers, Trumaine Johnson, Robert Quinn, all 3 defensive players held out of practice most of the week. If they don't play, this is definitely Detroit. So this is a situation where you don't want to bet it probably until Sunday. Keep in mind Sunday, look at the injury report, and then look at betting this game. But I'm leaning Detroit, especially if these guys are out.
Okay, now we got the biggest public pounding game of the weekend. We got 71% of the world like Pittsburgh at Miami. So Pittsburgh's 7.5-point favorites at Miami. 71% of the world, 80% of the experts that I'm seeing are liking Pittsburgh. Everybody's giving Pittsburgh some love here. Can Miami, hold that offense down in Miami?
Well, I mean, you've got to keep in mind the last time Pittsburgh went on the road, and they weren't very good.
No.
So, I mean, that's a situation where, maybe you just get lucky with those 7.5 points, and Miami can keep it within a touchdown. I mean, the game I'm referencing, 34-3 in Philadelphia. So, I don't think Miami's very good at all. I think they're a situation where they just can't hardly score. The Adam Gase scenario is not going real well. They've lost, 2 in a row. Bengals and Titans beat them. I'm in saying that, though. I think the road situation for Pittsburgh, they're not as good on the road. I think the 7.5 might be interesting. I might go against the public here and take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning your way as well. I mean, just simply because of that home, getting 8 points at home is unheard of a lot of times in the NFL. And And Miami, yeah, they're not very good, but they do have some weapons. And if those weapons get going, if they can get Landry in the end zone and maybe score some points there, they're not going to stop. I say they're not going to stop them, but I don't mind their defense either. I don't know. I think I'm taking in Miami, and I like going against the public in this one for sure. Le'Veon Bell is back, and he's been pretty electric, at least getting yards, and really makes that offense go a lot better for Pittsburgh. I think 43 points and 31 points since he's been back, so that really helps a lot. But I think I like Miami as well, plus the points in this one, and kind of bring Pittsburgh a little back down to earth. I think Pittsburgh wins, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, Ryan Tannehill's got to have a good week, doesn't he? I mean,
I don't know.
played 5 games and he's 1,200 yards. I mean, he's a big bust, and I mean, he's going to have to start playing here. He may lose his starting quarterback job. The Dolphins have 3 straight home games. It would be advantageous if they start winning. I look for them to be competitive in this game.
Okay, let's keep going for sake of time. We got Bengals at New England. Bengals, they're coming in at 2-3. New England's 4-1. Looked really good with Tom Brady back. New England is 9-point favorites at home in this one. Is that too much? Too many points to give against Cincinnati?
Probably not. I mean, Cincinnati, you got to keep in mind, Cincinnati's not nearly as good as they have been over the last couple of years, especially on the road. They've lost both games on the road. 2 out of 3 they've played on the road, at Pittsburgh and at Dallas. New England's better than both those teams. I think I'll take the Patriots to win this by double digits, and Cincinnati falling to 2-4 would be a big surprise, but it's going to happen. Patriots win, something like 31-20 in this game.
Oh yeah, Patriots are going to win. It's just a matter of if they win by, double digits or not. I think they do as well. I just love the Patriots. I love taking them at home. I love when they have everybody there. I mean, you look from last week, I think adding Martellus Bennett to that team was such an asset. I mean, think about that. They got Gronk and Martellus at the tight end position, throw in Edelman and some of those other tools. Blount's playing really well. Now you have Brady. I mean, they're a complete offense with that defense. I think they're the real deal this year.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly looked good. I mean, the one loss, of course, was right before they got Brady back. I don't look for them to lose. I think like I said, the big story here is Cincinnati being 2-4. I mean, that's the team that many people thought would get back to the playoffs. But, I think a double-digit win for the Patriots.
Okay, now we move on to Carolina at New Orleans, 2 teams that are really, really, really struggling. Carolina is probably the most surprising team in the NFL this year, sitting at 1-4. Defending Super Bowl participants, 1-4. Carolina comes to 1-3. New Orleans, a couple big-time quarterbacks. I believe Cam Newton's back. Is that correct?
Yeah, it sounds like he's going to be back. I mean, with the situation he was in, the concussion protocol, but it sounds like he's back. He returned to practice and he was toned down because of the concussion protocol. I do think he'll play in this game, so obviously a big lift because he's much, much better than Derek Anderson.
Yeah, and they're 3-point favorites on the road at New Orleans. Kind of a big rivalry game. These two, they hook up a couple times every single year. Typically pretty high-scoring games, but Carolina kind of has their number over the last 3 or 4 years. I like Carolina. I like them, but I've liked them every week, and so one of these weeks I think they're gonna hit for me. I'm taking Carolina in this one to win, by more than 3.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, New Orleans is typically better at home than they are on the road, although this year been a little bit different. One thing to note here, total of 53. That's a lot of points. Look for Kelvin Benjamin to have a big game there. I think I'll take Carolina on the road and get that -3.
Yeah, I mean, they scored 79 last year. The one thing that does concern me is it really, really seems like Carolina's secondary is just not good this year. They're getting lit up in the secondary. I mean, you saw Julio Jones go absolutely crazy on Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really concerned about that because the one thing New Orleans does well is pass, and so you get Cooks and some of those guys going and let them running wild, and New Orleans is going to put up some points as well. So this is going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I mean, I would take the over in this game. I think something like 34-31, something like that would be a popular score. But I'll take Carolina on the road, and I'll take the over in this game.
Okay, we got Baltimore at New York Giants. Baltimore comes in at 3-2, Giants 2-3. Giants are favored just slightly, favored by 3 in this game at home. My gut instinct right off the bat says I like the Giants a lot in this game, -3 at home. What do you think after looking at this one a little bit?
Yeah, two teams that have really struggled. Giants lost 3 in a row. Ravens lost 2 in a row. Both got off to great starts. I think this is the week Odell Beckham Jr. really gets going. I know he had the touchdown last week. Baltimore has been sliding big time now. I know their defense hasn't been terrible. If you look at their defense, they're only giving up just under 18 points a game. But I think the Giants torch them a little bit in this game. I like the Giants quite a bit, especially at home. And I think this is another over game, 43.5. I think the Giants get to 30, and it's something like 34-20. I like the Giants to win this game, and I'm going to take it over as well.
Yeah, I like the over in this one too. And I was surprised when I saw the public percentages. I thought New York would be a very popular play, and it's they're 55%. I thought that would be a higher number in this one because my gut right away said New York. I like them at home getting those points, and they're kind of if there is such a thing as a do factor, they're kind of due to go big and maybe play really well here at home. So I think they win and cover this game.
Well, yeah, and the Ravens have a new offensive coordinator, so I look for them to score a little bit more, and I definitely think the Giants score more. I mean, they've really struggled. I think they get going, and should be a fun game. I think the Giants win this game.
All right, we got the most exciting game on the board here: Cleveland at Tennessee. Cleveland's winless, 0-5 at Tennessee, who's just kind of there at 2-3. Tennessee's 7-point favorites. I'm gonna give this one to you. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, it's pretty ugly, but I think you've got to favor the home team. 7 points is a little bit scary. Now Tennessee was pretty solid last week. I mean, they picked up a win. They beat Miami. Maybe that shows how bad Miami is. I think at home Tennessee wins this game. I think they win it fairly easily. Cleveland's just bad. Cleveland is the worst team in football, so I'll take Tennessee by more than a touchdown. I'll take Tennessee -7.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost it, 10-plus games in a row. They haven't covered in 9 of their last 10 games dating back to last year. They're getting beat, and they're getting beat bad. They have nothing but problems, new quarterbacks, new everything right now. I think they're, on their 5th quarterback maybe in 5 or 6 games. That may not be bad, though. I mean, Pryor there at quarterback, that's who's starting, right, this week is Pryor?
Sounds like it. I mean, they've had Cody Kessler, they've had all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. They're begging for Johnny Manziel back here. So yeah, I mean, who knows who's going to start? It sounds like Pryor could get to start, but I think I like Pryor better as a receiver. So I don't know. It's pretty ugly in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's a mess. I'm taking Tennessee minus the points in that game. Okay, Philadelphia at Washington. Two fairly good teams. Kind of a little in-conference battle here, rivalry. We got Philadelphia's 3-1, Washington 3-2. Washington you can get them at 3-point underdogs at home in this game. I kind of like Washington getting those points. I know Philly, the public likes Philly, so I may be going against them. Who you liking?
Yeah, I think I'm going to like Washington in this game at home. I mean, that's surprising that they're an underdog in this game. I think they're the better team. I'm not buying into Philadelphia. I know they got off to a hot start, but kind of fell last week. Road game here for the Eagles. And Washington, I think, outscores them and wins this game. Washington's playing pretty good football right now. They've won 3 in a row. I'll take the Redskins, especially as underdogs at home.
Yeah, they've beat them the last three matchups they've played them. They looked good the last 3 games this season. I mean, they beat the Giants. Cleveland will toss that one out, and they beat Baltimore. I think Washington, I mean, they were a playoff team last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think they're better than people are giving them credit for, and if I can get that at +3, that's one of my favorite ones so far to see. And I'm real surprised the public likes Philly, but maybe everybody's buying into the Philly hype and seeing them at 3-1 and still on board. But I'm with you. I don't think they are as good as they've played so far.
No, and like you said, divisional champion is underdog at home. That's amazing. So yeah, I like Washington.
Okay, let's move on to we're finally into the late afternoon games, so the 4:05 Eastern time games. We got Kansas City at Oakland. Oakland is slight favorites at home in this game against Kansas City. Kansas City's 2-2. Oakland's kind of living up to their preseason expectations and sitting at 4-1 currently. My gut's telling me let's ride the Oakland train. I think they may win this at home. It's pretty much a pick 'em. But Kansas City's a sneaky team, and they usually play well when you're least expecting it. So I think this is a tricky game. What are you seeing in this one?
I like Oakland. I mean, Kansas City losses at Texas, at Houston, and at Pittsburgh. I mean, those are two pretty good teams they lost on the road to. I think Oakland's a pretty good team. It's a road game. If you're going to give me a pick 'em, I'm going to take the Raiders at home.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City's had their number over the last several years. I mean, I think they've won 5 of 6 against them over the last several years. But Oakland's a better team than they've had in the past. So, this one I'll probably stay away from. I can't seem to get Kansas City right either, so I may just stay away from this. I could see Kansas City competing. I think this is going to be a really good game. I don't know. Toss it up in the air. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big key will be Michael Crabtree. I mean, he's had a great season, 5 touchdowns already. I think he has a big game again, and that's why I like the Raiders.
Okay, big game here. Dallas at Green Bay. This should be a very heavily interested, watched game. Two, very popular teams in the National Football League. We got both of them. Dallas is at 4-1. Green Bay's at 3-1. Green Bay slight favorites at home. They're 4-point favorites at home in this game. Dallas has played really well. They seem to have their defense going. They have their running game going. They're not missing a beat with Romo gone. But the Packers are the Packers, and only 4-point favorites at home. Oh gosh, they've beaten Dallas 6 straight, 5 straight, something like that. Pretty easily. I like Green Bay in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Packers have won both their home games by 7 points. I think that the Giants and the Lions in those 2 games, I like Green Bay. 4 points doesn't seem like enough. I know Dallas has been off to a good start. Still young, a little bit inexperienced. I think the crowd in Green Bay takes care of them. I think Green Bay wins this game and may not even be close.
Yeah, the thing with Green Bay, they seem to be playing a lot of close games. I mean, you just mentioned it. They won by 7 a couple of their home games, lost by 3, won by 4. I mean, they just keep playing close games. They're not out there blowing people out. And I think that's half by design. I mean, when they get up, you really notice a difference in the way they play. If you really watch them, they kind of quit passing and they kind of go real cautious. And so they don't seem to be blowing teams out as much as they have maybe in years past. But I do like it. I think 4 points is not enough. So I'm going Green Bay in this one.
Sure. And Aaron Rodgers takes care of the football. He doesn't make dumb mistakes when they get ahead. So, but I still 4 points. That means Dallas has a chance at the end, and I just don't think they have a chance at the end of the game.
Okay, another really big game, Atlanta at Seattle. 2 more teams that only have 1 loss. Atlanta 4-1, Seattle 3-1. Really good game here, but we have a pretty big spread. I mean, Seattle's favored by 6.5 points over Atlanta, who's playing just fabulous football. 1 at Denver last week, beat Carolina. 1 at New Orleans, 1 at Oakland. Am I seeing this right with Seattle favored by 6.5?
Well, it's in Seattle, and Seattle's coming off the bye. They're getting healthy. I think odds makers are probably looking at the tough crowd there in Seattle. But you're right. I mean, if Atlanta saw their schedule and said, yeah, we'll win 4 in a row when we play Oakland, New Orleans, Carolina, and Denver, and then we got Seattle after that. We got the Packers coming up. I mean, their schedule's brutal. I don't think they win this game, and I actually, the spread. A little bit tricky there at 6.5. I'm glad it's not 7. I think I'm taking Seattle to win this game fairly easily at home. I think Seattle is pretty healthy right now. They get their offense going. I think Russell Wilson has a pretty big game. Atlanta's defense is not very good, so I like Seattle. I'll take them by 6.5.
Yeah, they're a whole different team at home. I think I'm leaning your way, but I may have to stay away from this because it's really that's a lot of points to give a good team like Atlanta, and they're clearly better than they were last couple years. Beating some of these really good teams in Denver and Carolina and even at New Orleans and at Oakland aren't slouches. So I think I think you're right. I think Seattle at home, but that 7 points or 6.5 points really is seems like a bit much to me. So I may stay away.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of points there. I mean, a little bit surprising it's that many points, but I just think it's the home factor for Seattle, and Atlanta playing such a tough schedule will catch up to them. And we see that in the NFL where teams playing well and just fall flat in one game, and I think that's what happens here with Atlanta.
Well, and this is your you're traveling across the nation factor again. You have Atlanta coming all the way across the country to play at Seattle, so it's going to be a tough.
Fortunately for Atlanta, it's not an early game.
Right.
That's when it really makes the difference. But yeah, it is a long travel, and Seattle's a brutal place to play. So I think I like Seattle.
Okay, we're moving on. We have Sunday Night Football, Indianapolis at Houston. Houston's 3-point favorites. In this one, Indianapolis comes in at 2-3. Houston's 3-2. What do you think in this game on Sunday night? Is it going to be a fun one? Colts have really not looked so good. What do you think?
No, and I've sipped the Kool-Aid on the Colts all year. I mean, this was one of the teams that I thought might be one of the best teams in the National Football League. Their offensive line's not good. Their defense isn't good. But in saying that, Brock Osweiler has been atrocious for the Texans. He hasn't been very good. He hasn't found his number one target in DeAndre Hopkins at all. You know, J.J. Watt's a major injury for the Texans. It completely changes their defense. I actually think Indianapolis wins this game. I think they know this is kind of a divisional championship type game. I mean, Indianapolis, if they win this game, tied for the top of the division. I think Indianapolis finds a way to win this game on the road, and Andrew Luck finally steps up in a big game. I'll take Colts +3 in this game.
Yeah, I like getting the 3 points as well. I don't know if they're going to win, but I like getting those points. It makes me feel a little better about taking them on Sunday Night Football. I think Luck's due to play really well. I think Houston's defense is not the same without Watt. So, yeah, I'm riding Indy in this one as well at this point. I like the 3 points.
Yeah, I guess I like their offense a lot more than a lot of people do, but I know their defense isn't very good. But again, Brock Osweiler, not very good right now. That's why I like the Colts.
Okay, we can move to the last game of the week, Monday Night Football. We have the New York Jets at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's 7.5-point favorites. Jets have let a lot of people down at 1-4 this year. I think they got some bad news. Decker may be out for the year. They're kind of struggling right now. Arizona's struggled as well, but now they're at home. 7.5-point favorites. Oh, is that too much to give a decent Jets defense?
Well, a decent might be too kind. I mean, 24 points to the Chiefs, 27 points to Seattle, 31 points to Pittsburgh. I don't know what's wrong with the Jets, but they're not very good right now. And I think Arizona started to feel a little bit of the pressure at 1-3. Carson Palmer's back in this game for the Cardinals. I think Arizona scores a bunch of points in this game. We've seen, that's the thing with Arizona is we see games where they just pour it on. I think this is going to be one of them. They'll get back to 500. They'll start competing. I like Arizona by a lot in this game. I'll take the Cardinals at home, 7.5. I'll take 8.5, whatever you want to get. I like the Cardinals.
Yeah, this is one I think I'm going to take the Jets, honestly. I think I'm going to take the points. I don't really know why because they haven't looked good. They haven't played well, but they've played some tough teams. I mean, at Pittsburgh, against Seattle, even at KC and at Buffalo. None of those are easy games at all. And so not that this is an easy game either, but I think this is one that the Jets might compete in and surprise some people. I really thought the public might like the Cardinals a lot more than this, but I think they're looking at that 7.5 points and taking that and hoping it can be a close game. And I think that's probably what I'll ride on Monday night as well.
Well, there's still a little question with Carson Palmer. Now he has cleared his concussion protocol. I think some bettors are waiting until we finally get some clarity on Carson Palmer because if it's Drew Stanton, then certainly 7.5 points is too many. Although they did beat San Francisco pretty easily last week, but I think Palmer will play. I think the Cardinals will blow out the Jets in this game. So we're going opposite in this one. I like the Cardinals.
Yeah, I may be able to be convinced to switch that around by Monday. We'll see. We'll see where I'm at Monday night. But yeah, so. Okay, well, that's all the games we have for this week. I know we have some interesting contests going on over at Noob Sports right now, and I know you're kind of heading those up, Rod. Could you tell all the listeners kind of what we have going on over here?
Yeah, we'll start with the postseason baseball. As you know, I'm right in the middle of Cub territory, so I got a little. I'm getting all the Cub fans involved. You don't have to be a Cub fan, but we're predicting the National League Championship Series. You got to follow us at Noob Sports on Twitter, KNUP Sports, and basically all I'm asking you to do is tweet what you think the NLCS result will be. For example, Cubs in a sweep or Dodgers in 7 or whatever it could be. And at that point, you're entered into, if you are correct, you're entered into a drawing for a free World Series jersey. And in fact, it doesn't have to be just Cubs. I guess if a Dodgers or Nationals fan win, I'll get you one of those as well. We got an opportunity to get you a World Series patch jersey. So that's the first contest. Second one with the National Hockey League started, we've got a winning streak contest going where basically you pick a winner each night. try to get the longest streak, and we have $50 on the line each month to the winner, courtesy of Intertops for that one. So we're really excited about both those contests. That's also on Twitter, Noop Sports. You can find all the information there, or go to the website and sign up at knupsports.com.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about these. I mean, big thanks, big shout out to Intertops for sponsoring that NHL contest. They're giving away a lot of money to us, and it's a perfect way for some of you guys to get started betting. I mean, you get just for winning one single month, you'll get $50 free to play with at Intertops, and if you win for the season, you get $200. So, you know what? Get out there, see if you can get some streaks started, and win some games in a row. There's no it's not going to be that hard. Find some favorites out there and pick some hockey teams to win. So I'm really excited about that. I hope you guys all participate with us. You need to sign up at noobsports.com. Just put your email name out there, and we'll get you going. You can start tweeting at us. So thanks for setting those up, Rod. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, the easy thing about that is literally all you have to do is pick one team each day, and even if it's the last minute, even if the last game hasn't started anything, well, I'll just take my chances. Now, or you could not play. If you don't play, you don't lose your streak. It's like baseball. Your hitting streak just stays where it's at because you just didn't play. So you have several opportunities to play or not play, as much or as little as you'd like.
Okay, well, that's all we have for today. We went a little longer than normal, but we wanted to talk all the games today. So we hope you guys enjoyed listening to our podcast, and hopefully we help you make a little bit of money betting on some sports this weekend. Or if you're playing daily fantasy, you can listen in, and we talk some players as well. So if you want some more information, we're always out on Facebook, always on Twitter. We give picks almost every day of what we like. We also give a daily we call it a play of the day out on our email newsletter. So we give you one play every day that we like. We have been hitting pretty well lately in that pick. So it's our favorite play of the day. But then you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and we just like to talk sports. So we'd love to talk to you. Thanks for listening. Rod, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Noop Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at noobsports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's knupsports.com.